What is up, everybody? Before we dive in, do me a huge favor and smash that like button and subscribe. You are going to want to see this. Okay, so imagine this. On a single day in August, two political bombshells just go off. The FBI raids a super high-profile critic of the president, while at the exact same time, the explosive Epstein files are finally released. So was it just a coincidence or a perfectly planned distraction? Let's break it down. And that, right there, is the million-dollar question. Was one of the biggest political raids we've seen in years a legit act of justice, or was it maybe the most perfectly timed political diversion ever? I mean, think about it. On the exact same day, these two massive stories just slam into each other. You've got the FBI raiding a major Trump critic over here, and then over there, the long-awaited, super-sensitive Epstein files finally start coming out. It's the timing, you guys. The timing is what makes this whole thing just wild. All right, so to really get what's going on, we have to zoom in on one specific date. Friday, August 22nd, 2025. This one day. This is where the entire story just goes crazy. Yeah, just one day. A single 24-hour window. That is literally all it took for these two politically nuclear stories to erupt at the exact same time, sending total shockwaves through the news and, raising a ton of questions. Okay, so let's start with the first bombshell, that dramatic FBI raid on John Bolton's house. So the main guy in this first story is John Bolton, and you probably remember him, right? He was Trump's national security advisor. And we're not talking about some random official here. This guy was in one of the most powerful spots in the entire White House, privy to all the administration's biggest secrets, a total insider. But then, after a pretty major falling out, he became one of the administration's loudest and fiercest public critics. And it's that history that makes the timing of this FBI raid so interesting. So then, boom, August 22nd, federal agents are swarming his home in Maryland. The official line? It's part of a national security investigation. But here's the really juicy part, the context. Trump had already, very publicly, threatened to lock Bolton up over that tell-all book he wrote. And just to add a little more fuel to this fire, that very same morning, the FBI Director Kash Patel, who is a known close ally of Trump, posts this super cryptic message online. No one is above the law. At FBI agents on mission. Now, he doesn't name any names, but come on. The timing is just impossible to ignore. All right, so while all that drama is going down at Bolton's house, there's a completely different but just as huge story breaking just a few miles away on Capitol Hill. Now, here's the thing you have to remember. The release of the Jeffrey Epstein files wasn't some big surprise. In fact, the Trump administration had been accused for months of dragging its feet on this, slow-walking the release, even with all this insane public and political pressure. Yeah, it actually took this massive push from both sides of the aisle to get this done. First, the pressure started building up in Congress. Then, that led the House Oversight Committee to issue a full-on subpoena, and that finally forced the Department of Justice to hand over the first big batch of documents on, well, you already know the date, August 22nd. Okay, so let's start connecting these dots, right? You've got this super high-profile raid on a political enemy, and you've got this long-delayed release of absolutely explosive documents. So why on earth would both of these things happen on the exact same day? And this, my friends, is where the whole distraction theory really kicks in. Was this very public, very camera-friendly raid on John Bolton just a calculated move? A way to pull all the media attention away from the Epstein files? And look, this isn't just some random internet conspiracy theory. This is coming straight from Representative Krishnamoorthi, a congressman who's literally on the committee that demanded the files. He went on the record and said, quote, "It looks political, an attempt to distract from the other big news of the day, which is the first production of the Epstein files." He basically argued that this is part of a bigger pattern, right? A deliberate strategy to control the news cycle anytime something damaging is about to come out. His exact words were, they want to change the conversation repeatedly. So there you have it. You have the events, and you have the theory coming from a key lawmaker. So that leaves us with two very different ways to look at what happened on August 22nd. It's time for you to decide. So what was it, really? Was this just the gears of government turning on their own, completely separate from each other? Or was one event deliberately used to bury the other one?
Okay, so on one hand, maybe it was just a legit FBI mission, right? The argument for coincidence is basically all about procedure. I mean, these national security investigations are super complex. They can be planned for months. Their timing is usually dictated by warrants and when agents are ready to go, not by what's on the news. And at the same time, the DOJ was facing a hard legal deadline to release those files because of this subpoena. So from this point of view, it's just two totally separate government timelines that just happen to collide. Bad luck.
But then there's the other side. Was it a perfect political smokescreen? The argument here points to all that juicy context we talked about. You've got a president who already threatened the guy being raided, you've got his political ally at the FBI posting that weird cryptic message that morning, and you have a senior congressman flat out calling it a distraction. From this point of view, the timing isn't a coincidence at all. The timing is the entire point. So we've laid out both sides, a totally legit, by-the-book coincidence or a brilliant political smokescreen. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Which side makes more sense to you? Let us know in the comments below. I really want to hear your take on this.
And that's our breakdown for today. If you dug this explainer, please, please, please smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives just like this one. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next one.